This trip was one that I was truly amazed at. It's really cool when you get to do the service projects and instantly you see the impact that's happening. One of the really cool aspects of our mission trip this year is two of the projects that we did specifically. One was at Miss Kathy's house, and we did a ton of work there, from repainting the walls, scraping the ceilings, redoing the flooring, ripping out things, cleaning. I mean, it was just a lady who was struggling to be able to take care of her home, and the work we were able to do in there really made it feel like she was moving into a brand new place. And you could tell how proud she was, how happy she was, how blessed she felt in that moment, because she stuck around. They had talked before that they had done some projects at her house, and she really just kind of kept to herself, didn't really talk to kids, but she was super engaging, talking to her kids all the time. She even had friends over while we were still working at her place, because she was just so amazed and excited about the impact that was happening. And you could tell we just really were making her day. And not only was it going to be an amazing day for her, but going forward, living that place, she was going to be happy. And we really just shined the light of Jesus in that moment. And that was one really big example. And I mean, we spent 4 days on that house and that project, and it was really just really cool and incredible. And then one of the roofing projects we did as well, the lady came outside later in the day, and she was talking to me and another one of our leaders, and she talked so much about how you have no idea the timing that was going on with this. And I said, what do you mean by the timing? And she goes, I had to go into my attic today because I had to get something for a project she was doing in her house, something like that. And she looked up in her attic and she could see the light shining in through her attic because there was a hole in her roofing. And she was like, and then it was supposed to rain later that day. Well, that was the day that we happened to do the roofing project, and we were able to finish the entire project before it rained. And you could just tell the impact where she's like, sometimes there's these moments in life where you can't just quite explain it, but God's timing is at place. And that really stuck to me because it felt like that whole trip, it was just time and time again that God's timing, God's plan was really at work in everything that we were doing. And like Jackie says in this video later on, the kids just worked hard. The kids wanted to be there. They cared. Every day they continued working harder and harder than the next one because they saw the impact that they were having, and it was truly incredible. And it's one of those things where a lot of times you don't get to hear the impact that you're making. Sometimes you just have to kind of infer or assume. And our kids got to see an immediate impact in what they were doing. And it wasn't just an impact that was going to be for the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks, but truly an impact that was going to be talked about in that community for a long time. And it really just was such a cool experience throughout. And I have to share one of my favorite stories from the trip also was just hearing about one of our younger kids. He was going on his first mission trip and he was nervous about going. He was worried about being homesick, and we get down there and I'm like, hey, how you feeling? You doing okay? He's like, I think I'm doing okay. Like I haven't missed home yet. And I was like, okay, that's great. And he's on this project where they literally ripped out concrete off of a sidewalk to pour in new concrete. So they're going with a sledgehammer, they're ripping, they put in so much effort. All these guys are just dripping sweat. And they're working with this guy for 2 days, long days, in the sun, it's hot. But by the end of it, the man was broken down in tears because he said, there's groups that come and they take a little piece of your heart with you, and you guys have no idea the impact you made on me this week. And that's one of the leaders of this project, the impact that our students made on him in that moment. But to further, this kid was so moved by that week and so moved by what he experienced on this mission trip. He had already talked to the leader of that organization we were working with to talk about serving for an entire month next summer. And that, to me, shows how much these kids wanted to serve, how much these kids wanted to work, and just quite frankly, how much they cared for people in need around them. And there's so many stories, there's so many amazing memories, but truly I am almost at a loss for words when I try to describe this trip to people, because it was just so amazing and the impact was so instant and you got to see it. And it was just unbelievable, and it's going to be one that I talk about for a long time to come.
My favorite part of the trip was probably playing volleyball in Mafia every single night because we all got to just like make fun of each other during it the whole time practically.
My favorite memory from the mission trip was staying up super late playing spike ball and then going to Waffle House after.
My favorite part of the trip was definitely roofing. New experience I've never done before, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and the people I was working with.
One of my favorite parts of the mission trip was going to Waffle House at 2:30 in the morning and then going back to bed and then leaving at 6 a.m. to go home.
This was my first trip chaperoning a mission trip, and it was great to see how the kids interacted with everyone they were working with, even though it was the first time they had met them. It's like they'd known them for years, and just watching them work every single day as hard as they worked to get the job done, no matter how hot it was, and always coming back with a smile on their face.
So the best part of my trip was meeting everybody that was there. We had a new site leader every day, and their stories and experiences were really awesome to hear. They would lead us through the jobs and then introduce us to the locals that are there, and it was really cool to see how we were changing their lives and yeah, making a difference there.